Two people with identical injuries from car accidents can get settlements that are as great as $50,000 apart, and most people never find out why they're the ones that got the smaller amount. In this video, I'm going to show you settlement examples and the exact factors that determine what your Georgia car accident case is actually worth. Hi, I'm attorney David Brawns. I started my career working for the insurance companies, and that meant my job was figuring out how to pay accident victims as little as possible. Seeing how that system worked from the inside is exactly why I'm sharing these videos. I want you to know the same tricks I used to use against people so that you can protect yourself. And if you ever need to talk to an attorney you can trust, you can always call me at 678-616-8588. People always ask me what their car accident case is worth, and they expect a simple answer. Maybe something like 3 times your medical bills, or it depends on how hurt you are. But after recovering over $100 million for clients, I can tell you that the real answer is much more complex and surprising. The truth is, insurance companies don't just guess at settlement amounts. They use sophisticated computer programs that analyze thousands of similar cases to predict what juries would award in Georgia. Large companies use databases and systems like Colossus. They factor in specific injuries, treatment types, county locations, and even the other driver's background and your claims history to calculate settlement ranges. And with AI coming online, it's only going to get worse. But there's still something that shocks most people when they see what others got for similar injuries, and it reveals the massive impact that these hidden factors can have on your settlement. Let me show you what this looks like with real numbers. Let's say 2 people suffer herniated discs in a rear-end accident. Both have $15,000 in medical bills, and they both miss 6 weeks of work. The exact same case. Person A settles their case for $35,000. Person B settles for $85,000. Same injury, same treatment, but a $50,000 difference. The reason comes down to specific factors that most people never consider. What these 2 cases reveal is that case value depends on much more than just the medical bills. The most important factor is injury severity, always. But here's how insurance companies really measure that. They've got categories. They create a hierarchy. Soft tissue injuries like sprains and strains typically range from $3,000 to $15,000. Herniated discs requiring injections, which are more invasive and more serious injuries, those range from $25,000 to $75,000. And injuries requiring surgery can range anywhere from $75,000 to $300,000 or more. But within each category, there are other factors that multiply or divide these amounts. To maximize this factor, meaning your injury severity and how the insurance companies look at it, you need to follow all medical recommendations without gaps. Do not miss appointments or create long periods of time with no treatment. If your doctor refers you to a specialist, go. If they recommend an MRI, go. If they recommend physical therapy, go. Follow doctor's orders. Insurance companies use treatment gaps to argue you weren't really hurt. It's one of their favorite things to look for in devaluing your case. But then there's something that's counterintuitive that can actually double your settlement amount, even when your medical treatment stays exactly the same. It's the severity of the wreck. The severity of the collision itself tells a story that juries believe, regardless of what the medical science says. Insurance companies know this psychology and they adjust settlements accordingly. This happens because juries think bigger crash equals bigger injuries. And even if that's not medically accurate, it affects verdicts. To use this factor, you need to take photos of your car immediately. Document all vehicle damage from multiple angles. Photograph skid marks, debris, and the accident scene. Get the police report number. It's going to contain descriptions of your property damage. This evidence supports the impact severity story. All this evidence is going to support the impact severity story, a huge driver in your case's value. But now I'm going to show you something that might sound completely unfair, yet it could be worth more than the difference between needing surgery or not. It's where the other driver lives. Where the other driver lives determines which county's jury could hear your case, and different Georgia counties award vastly different amounts for identical injuries. I want you to consider this. Let's say you need back surgery and you have $50,000 in medical bills. If the other driver lives in rural South Georgia, your case might be worth $150,000 in the insurance company's eyes. But if they live in Fulton, DeKalb, Clayton, or even Gwinnett County in Atlanta, that identical case could be worth $250,000 or more. You see, rural juries, as a rule of thumb, tend to award between 40 and 60% less than urban juries for the exact same injuries and case. Why does all this happen? This happens because Georgia law requires you to sue someone in their home county. Rural counties have more conservative juries, and they view large awards very skeptically. Urban counties have juries that are more accustomed to higher cost of living and larger verdicts. There's nothing you can do to change this factor. Where the other person lives when they hit you, that's a fact and you can't change it. But understanding this factor helps you set realistic expectations on what your case is worth. Now, your lawyer can look at other ways to get the venue or the county of the lawsuit in different counties. There are some ways to do that. One of the things a lawyer can do if they're helping you on the case and you're filing a lawsuit is there are some situations where we can do what's called venue shop, meaning we've got options of different counties to file, and we will always pick the county where we think we're going to get the best result, meaning the highest verdict. And there's one more factor that's completely outside your control, yet it can influence your settlement as much as the difference between a minor injury and a major one. It's the other driver's background and how they'll appear to a jury. It's going to affect how much insurance companies will pay to avoid trial and having their driver put on the stand. Let's use an example. Let's say you're hit by a 75-year-old grandmother on her way to church versus a 25-year-old with 3 DUIs who is texting while driving. Your injuries are identical, but the juries, they're going to see these defendants completely differently. The grandmother might generate sympathy, and that's going to reduce your award by 30-40% or more, while the repeat offender could increase it by the same amount due to jury anger. They want to punish that driver. One of the things your attorney can do for you is do a background check on the other driver to see their history. Do they have felonies, DUIs, or anything else we can bring out as to their character? Insurance companies evaluate every defendant this way. They consider their age, occupation, driving record, criminal history, and overall likability. A sympathetic defendant means lower settlement offers because insurance companies know juries won't punish them harshly. On the other hand, an unsympathetic defendant can significantly boost your case value because insurance companies want to avoid an angry jury. Now, here's something else most people don't know about Georgia law that can dramatically affect your case value, especially if you made any mistakes at the accident. Georgia follows what's called a modified comparative negligence rule. What this means is that if you're found to be 50% or more at fault, you get nothing. But if you're 1 to 49% at fault, you win, but your settlement gets reduced by that percentage. So let's say your case is worth $100,000. If you're found 20% at fault, you're only going to get $80,000. But remember, you can't be more than 50% at fault or you get nothing. This is why never admitting fault is so critical. Even saying, "I'm sorry," or "I didn't see you," can be used to assign partial blame to you. Insurance companies look for this in every fact pattern. They are looking for any way to put some of the fault on you to reduce what they pay. So now let's talk about how you can maximize your case value with the factors that you can control. First, and you've heard me say this in other videos, you need to document everything. Everything at the accident scene, the vehicle damage, the road conditions, the skid marks. Get the witness information. They will disappear. Second, follow all medical treatment completely without gaps. Do not miss appointments. Third, keep a daily journal of how your injuries are affecting your work, your sleep, your activities, and mood. If you go to remember this stuff 4 or 5 months later, you won't. Fourth, never give recorded statements or sign anything without an attorney reviewing it first. And fifth, do not post anything on social media about your accident or your activities post-accident. But here's what you need to understand about the timing and how timing affects what the insurance companies are offering you. Insurance companies often make their best offers right before trial because they want to avoid the uncertainty and unpredictability of juries. If you settle a case too quickly, you are most likely leaving money on the table. If you wait too long, the medical bills are piling up and you're going to suffer financially. The key is knowing where is that sweet spot. That sweet spot is knowing when you've reached what's called maximum medical improvement, or MMI. If you've been in an accident in Georgia and want to know what your case is truly worth, do not let the insurance companies undervalue your claim based on these hidden factors. Call Braun's Law for a free consultation. We'll walk through everything and start to put some parameters around your case. We're going to evaluate your case using the same criteria insurance companies use and fight for maximum compensation. And if you're left wondering what happens if you need to file a lawsuit to get the fair value of your case, I want you to watch this next video where I walk you through the step-by-step process of a car accident lawsuit in Georgia. I'm going to tell you what to expect and how long it really takes.